Hello, and welcome to the Hill Law Group podcast, where we talk all things estate planning. I'm Meredith Hill,
And I'm Ericca Pearson.
and we are two attorneys at the Hill Law Group, an estate planning firm based in Bethesda, Maryland. We serve clients in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. Today, we are going to talk about, do I need a power of attorney? So to kick off the discussion, we should probably define what is a power of attorney. A power of attorney document is a document that allows someone to step into your shoes and act on your behalf and make decisions for you, sign for you. And they do this if you are physically or mentally unable to do so. A lot of people think about this in the context of you being incapacitated or like in a coma or something, but there's many different uses for a power of attorney, and we're going to touch on those a little bit today and see if you need a power of attorney.
Well, the short answer is yes, that most people over the age, all people over the age of 18 need a power of attorney. So lots of times parents don't think that their 18-year-olds need powers of attorney. So when you are going off to college and you turn 18, oh, this hurts my heart that you are not necessarily the one that can just step in and do any and everything for your now age of majority child. Your child needs to name, and they probably will name you mom, dad as their power of attorney, but they could name someone else who they trust
Mhm.
to be able to step into their shoes. So, say for instance, something happens to them and they need someone to handle something that's going on at their bank,
Mhm.
or if they are signing a document, they can have someone step into their shoes signing a document. So if you're over 18, you do need someone to handle those types of issues. So definitely I'm thinking about that. Those college students or those people who are turning 18
Mhm.
need a power of attorney.
Mhm.
I don't know, we could come up with all types of scenarios where you kind of need that power of attorney.
Mhm.
When you get older, so let's go from one end of the spectrum to the other. You're very elderly and you're having trouble, maybe with mobility, or with your eyesight, and you need some assistance when it comes to lots of things. Again, I keep bringing up banks because there are many times when you need to go into the bank to do all kinds of things. You are making deposits, doing any and everything you need to. Elderly people then need someone to handle all of those issues for them. And you definitely want to put those documents in place before you need them. So you don't want your parent or even your young person to get to a point where they need the document and don't have it. So
Mhm.
we want to always be kind of having this forward thinking to put the documents in place for your adults, your age majority children, and your whoever really needs that document. Put that document in place so that you have it before you need it.
Mhm. Forward thinking is key. I
Yeah,
like that phrase,
yeah.
forward thinking, especially in terms of power of attorney. Because a lot of times when we're doing other estate planning documents, like your last will and trust documents, we always talk about we're planning for the right now and how things are because we don't have a crystal ball.
Mhm.
But the power of attorney document is a little different because it is that what if this happens or what if that happens. And so with what you're talking about with aging parents or a loved one that's getting a little older, we do like to have that forward thinking of okay, they might not be able to physically take themselves to the bank or to take themselves this place or that place. So they need a power of attorney. Um, and I think it's just important to just have that forward thinking when it comes to that. Um, and it's also when we talk about power of attorney, it's important to talk about selecting who is going to serve as your power of attorney. A lot of times people, well, first of all, let's step back. A lot of people just assume like a significant other can
Must serve as
must
their
serve, or they're just automatically by law their power of attorney, and that is not correct at all. You have to have that document saying that this person is your power of attorney, and then within that document, it states all the different powers that they have. So you can limit it to this person is my power of attorney in the context of buying property, or selling property, and they can only do it in that manner.
Mhm.
Or you can have one that's very expansive and comprehensive and gives them pretty much all of the powers. But no matter what type of power of attorney document you have, you want to make sure that you select someone that you trust and who's going to take the job seriously and step in when needed and when called.
Mhm.
Um, and there's two different ways that you can draft your power of attorney. One is when it becomes effective as soon as you sign it, and that's called a durable power of attorney. Uh, and then the other one is springing power of attorney, and it becomes effective at a certain event. Usually, if you're like in the hospital and a doctor signs off saying that you need a power of attorney to step in. Um, so we like to just make sure that you know what type of power of attorney you want
Mhm.
and who is going to serve in that role.
Mhm.
And also selecting backup power of attorneys if the person that you have nominated is
Unavailable.
unable or
Mhm.
unwilling
Mhm.
to serve in that
So
capacity.
generally, we draft a durable power of attorney, one that is effective as soon as you sign it, and generally has this broad strokes of powers.
Mhm,
Really have the ability to do anything that you are able to do, and we do that because, just like Meredith was saying, we don't have this crystal ball to know I'm going to need this power of attorney only in this instance, and so generally you want that power of attorney to be in place for someone to step into your shoes and handle anything that may come up. And because we don't know what will come up, we want them to be able to take care of most anything, right?
mhm,
And so again, for spouses generally serve as each other's power of attorney, but you do want someone to back them up because you think about that scenario if both of you are in an accident and something happens to both of you. We want to have someone who's a backup who can serve as power of attorney in case your spouse cannot. But if you decide, some people just they feel like their spouse is not the best person for that. That's just not their strong suit, and that's okay too. You
mhm,
just want to have at least two people, and you can go as many as three, to just make sure that there's always someone to step into your shoes if necessary to handle those issues that you need to handle in when you aren't able to handle them for yourself.
mhm. And it's not even just like when you aren't able to handle it, it's also if you don't want to handle
Hmm.
it and you just like if you're on vacation, for
Right,
example, and something needs to be taken care of here at home,
right,
and you don't want to stop your vacation in the south of France
right.
to deal with something that's going on here at home. So instead of having to stop your vacation, you just send your power of attorney to step in and do it.
Hmm.
Um, when my husband and I bought our first house, the seller did not show up to the signing. She sent her power of attorney and
Hmm.
she's alive, well, healthy. Um, but she didn't want to be there. So she just sent
Send
her
her power of attorney.
power of attorney to sign all the documents on her behalf.
Hmm.
And that worked.
Hmm.
And so if you don't want to be somewhere or have to worry about something happening while you're gone, just have your power of attorney, um, just have a power of attorney listed. And again, make sure it's someone that you trust.
And the other thing I think about is so there have been situations where you may have a parent or a loved one who may start having some memory issues. So they are having memory issues, and it just feels like, they're losing keys, they're losing their phone. But then it starts getting a little worse, where you feel like they may be suffering from some form of dementia. Once they are suffering in that form of dementia, they've gotten to the point where they are not really cognizant of, your name, the day of the week, who's the president. It has become too late to sign a power of attorney. And in those instances, like have a situation where there's a loved one who has on the deed to a house, right? And you want to go sell a house and you need the signature for that individual who is now suffering from dementia, but you did not have a power of attorney in place. It makes everything so much more complex when you are in that scenario. So I think when you start, Well, first off, putting together your any documents, specifically the power of attorney, you want to do that when nothing is happening, when everybody is healthy, and you are putting these documents in case something happens.
Mhm,
Um, but if you know that you are that you may suffer from those things, that type of um, mental issue runs in your family, you definitely want to put together your power of attorney so that you are not placed in a scenario where it gets very complex. We don't know how we're going to not only sell houses, how are we going to cancel your cell phone? How are we going to do
mhm,
lots of things that become very, very complicated if you don't have a power of attorney for people who are suffering from
mhm,
Alzheimer's or some form of dementia.
mhm. Yeah, and these places are really strict.
They are,
They
because
really
they have the contract with the person who is suffering. And
yes.
so they don't want you to just and a lot of times we think, oh, my spouse will just be able to sign off on that. Oh, my daughter will just be able to sign off on that on my behalf. And it is not that simple.
Mhm,
These are legal issues that people have when it comes to banking, and cell phone service is a huge uh, I don't want to say offender because they're not offending, but they have the contract with that individual and they don't want to just shut off cell phones or change cell phone service because someone who does not have the authorization to do that on your behalf says that they want to do that. So
because they don't know you,
yeah.
and you might and there's so many, like, scams going on and scammers, and they don't wanna be a part of that,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
just have some person shut off your cell phone service willy-nilly.
Right.
No, we don't
Right.
want that. So to answer our question at the beginning, do I need a power of attorney? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you do. If you if you are over the age of 18, you should definitely consider getting a power of attorney. You need one. And it'll help you just give you that peace of mind that if something were to happen to you or you just don't want to be somewhere, you have that person on deck. And also just let that person know that they are serving as your power of attorney, because that's important as well. Okay. So again, we are Meredith Hill
Erica Pearson.
with the Hill Law Group, and feel free to visit us at thehilllawgroup.com and on social media at Hill Law Group. And we look forward to seeing you at our next episode. Bye.
Bye.